what we did in Huawei, I'm very proud of what we did in helping to sort out the situation of Miss Meng Wanzhou. And I worked with the family of Michael Kovrig so that we could free the two Michaels. And we worked with them very, very closely throughout the whole process. And I never did anything and would have never done anything that would have been contrary to the interest of my country. So in fact, we were very, very active in helping resolve that matter and to bring the two Michaels home.
Adam Soos here for Rebel News, and we're at the Wildrose Brewery here in Calgary, Alberta, where Jean Charest is set to have the very first event of his campaign for the leadership of the Conservative Party of Canada. Many questions revolving his leadership bid remain. First off, the fact, for those who are unaware, that he was a Liberal premier of the province of Quebec. He, of course, also was a member of Parliament for the Conservatives on a federal level, so there's no lack of history there. But some of the policies that he's advocated for likely not to sit well with Conservatives in this province. First and foremost among those, his strong support of the carbon tax in the past tends not to do particularly well in oil country. Beyond that, though, he also had a history of doing consulting work for Huawei when he worked at a law firm, and that included some consulting matters on the extradition process, as well as some consulting efforts to secure 5G telecommunications contracts for Huawei. Now, that would put him at odds with the Conservatives who, in the light of security concerns, have suggested and called for Huawei to be banned from access to telecommunications contracts in this country. One of the other things out there that has drawn sort of the attention of many people who are watching the Conservative leadership closely is how quickly many legacy and mainstream media outlets were to rush out to spread the word that Jean Charest could be the solution for the Conservatives, effectively launching endorsements. We've also seen Liberal activists and former Liberals saying that Jean Charest is the answer for the Conservatives, leaving many to wonder how conservative he is indeed at all. We're going to be covering this event tonight, and we're going to be covering the leadership races closely right across Canada. If you want to see those reports, you can do so at LeadershipReports.ca. We're going to be there to ask the tough questions and to tell the other side of the story. Refreshing shift from what we have seen at previous Conservative Party events, with media sometimes being excluded if they aren't mainstream or they don't have the set approval of designated parties. We have seen mainstream media outlets, we've seen independent media outlets, all allowed and in fact welcomed and thanked for attending. So this is a shift from what we've seen for the past little while, and hopefully a signifier of things to come, a signal that this leadership campaign from all campaigns will be more open to questions and more open to media. So we have seen a small group of counter-protesters with some billboards basically advocating for pipelines and suggesting that Jean Charest may not be the one to get that work done. There's also a large billboard on a truck outside saying that we need to look for Conservatives towards the future, not the past. That's what the protesters are saying, and they're suggesting that Jean Charest may very well be a relic of the past and not the direction for this party moving forward.
And ladies and gentlemen, remember, you're looking at the candidate and you're looking at the campaign that's built to win. And we want you and we need you and your country needs you to be part of this campaign. Merci beaucoup. Thank you very much. Let's start with Huawei. And you know what we did in Huawei, I'm very proud of what we did in helping to sort out the situation of Miss Meng Wanzhou. And I worked with the family of Michael Kovrig so that we could free the two Michaels. And we worked with them very, very closely throughout the whole process. And I never did anything and would have never done anything that would have been contrary to the interest of my country. So in fact, we were very, very active in helping resolve that matter and to bring the two Michaels home. So on that, on the long gun registry, the police forces in Quebec are the ones who said, if you're going to do away with the registry, why don't you just transfer over to us the information that's there? That's the long and the short of it. On that. It was very simple to do. And your other question was on
carbon tax.
Well, we will have an opportunity to talk about that during the campaign, but let me start by the beginning. We need a very, very comprehensive approach that includes policies that are going to promote economic growth and make sense by themselves. Carbon capture and storage, blue hydrogen, green hydrogen, small modular reactors. Hydro, of course, is part of that. Biofuels. I mean, those are the things that we need to be smart about. And I'm very committed to designing a policy that is going to be good and will deal with transition. I'll give you an example. I was in Europe a few weeks ago. The European Commission just announced their transition energy policy, and in their transition, they're including nuclear and natural gas. And they're doing it for a reason, because it makes sense. If you want to transition to a point where you take carbon out of the economy or the energy sector, well, then that's what you have to do. You need to be smart about it. And that's what we'll do for Canada. But the provinces will be part of that, and the industry will participate in that.
Do you think that the optics of you taking a salary from effectively the Chinese Communist Party will look bad if you do become Prime Minister?
I work to free the two Michaels. And by helping resolve the situation of Meng Wanzhou, that's what I did. And I worked with the family of Michael Kovrig to make that happen. And I'm very proud of that.
Well, that is a wrap on the kickoff event for Jean Charest's bid for the leadership of the Conservative Party of Canada. We're going to follow up with him and with all the other people, including Dr. Leslyn Lewis, Pierre Poilievre, and Patrick Brown, seeking the leadership. We'll be following their campaigns at LeadershipReports.ca. I want to thank you all so much for tuning in. For Rebel News, I'm Adam Soos. Hey, if you want behind-the-scenes looks and the real questions being asked at leadership campaigns across Canada, we're going to be covering the bid to become the next leader of the Conservative Party of Canada like no one else at LeadershipReports.ca.